think it's very much a two-way street. Obviously, this is a generation of people that hopefully we will be meeting in graphic design studios and print places all over the country in the next few years. So I think it's great to get to meet people, to get information and to get questions thrown at you that would come out of the blue that no one else would even ask you. You also get an idea of what a huge subject matter they're trying to cover in a relatively short time is, and how really we can help educate them alongside yourselves as to where to start where to start with any given project, or where to get information from, what other parts of the industry would be able to help them, such as the print industry. And we can help them on a practical level with things like samples, with just understanding a bit more about how different papers can really add or detract from a printed piece, and again explore new technology or new kinds of papers where you can use interesting techniques in production. Well, I think that definitely there's a lot of misinformation about the paper industry and the print industry, and it is a very complicated, it's a very complex issue. I think you need to really get quite a lot of information, make your own mind up about what is the most ecologically friendly way of doing things. But I think you have to take quite a wide view on the whole matter. For example, paper industry in general, it's not a matter of randomly selecting trees for pulp. Trees are grown as a crop. The general rule of thumb is that every one that is harvested is replaced by 3. Obviously, we need a continual supply of paper pulp. It's not a random issue at all, it's very considered. Paper mills have for decades, if you think about the location of paper mills, they're generally in very beautiful places. Usually they need a lot of water, so they'll be in mountainous or hilly areas. They're long established, most of them. They employ the local population who are living in that area. Obviously they're living in the area. They have a vested interest in maintaining, the health of their workers. The water that they're using comes out from local lakes and streams, that goes back in a more cleaner than it came out. It has to be like that. They're heavily monitored. It's a very, very heavily monitored industry. Remember, for example, that paper is the ultimately recyclable product, and whether you think it's more environmentally friendly to use a virgin sheet of paper or to use a recycled paper where, okay, you're using a recycled pulp, but perhaps you're using more energy to get that paper back into a usable condition, that's quite an interesting piece of investigation that you can do. But I think you have to think more widely. For example, you can use new technology such as digital print to reduce your print run, reduce waste. You can use very beautiful papers, textured papers, coloured papers, to increase the impact of your advertising or promotion, and therefore get a better response. And again, using that with digital technology, you can make a much more targeted, effective piece of print than you could formerly by doing sort of mass mailings on large quantities of paper. So you can reduce cost in that way and reduce, therefore, the environmental impact as well. And the other fantastic thing about new digital print is the fact that when you're using digital print and every single impression is imaged individually, it gives you an ideal opportunity to use kind of generative computer systems, so that every single individual piece of digital print can be like a painting. Each image can change. So even if you're printing like 1,000 covers or something, covers for a magazine would be a good example, you could use a program which would enable you to produce an individual, if you like, limited edition on every single impression that you're making with a digital press, and that's totally out of the question financially with litho. So I think that's really exciting.